Hi everyone, welcome to my Aquarius Rising video. I'm really excited to do this video, and if you are an Aquarius Rising, or if you have a lot of your energy in the 11th house or your moon, or you have a lot of Aquarian energy, you're probably going to be able to relate to this video. The only way you can know about your rising sign, which sign it is based on the birth time and the location. So if you don't know what your birth time is, you can't know your rising sign. And the rising sign is sort of the way that you approach the world, the way that you ask the world to see you. It's the mask that you wear, and it's the hello, it's the big pop or the bang or the boom, the first impression. And deeper than that, though, it really is how you step into the world. And I want to talk about today Aquarius Rising. I'm in my rising sequence, and I invite you to go back and watch the Sagittarius and Capricorn videos, and Pisces is on deck. So I will be getting to my Pisces video. I can't do these fast enough. I have a really big practice, and I'm just really got an overwhelming schedule. And if you do want a private reading, you can always book online at soulnavigation.com and get on my online calendar. But in the meantime, sit back, get your coffee or your drink. I've got my Leo cup today. I don't have my Aquarius. It's dirty. I guess I use it a lot. But and sit back with me. This is going to be about 20 minutes, and I hope that you love it. And by the way, I really appreciate all the feedback and the encouragement. I love when the person who I'm speaking about, say the Aquarius Rising, really gives me insight and honest feedback. And I'm just so grateful for all the good wishes and words, and it's really nice. So thank you. Thank you for spending time. And subscribe to my channel, please. Subscribe to my video and ring the little bell, if you will. And that way you'll get a notification, because I don't post very often. So you'll get a notification when my next video is up. So let's dive in, okay? Aquarius Rising. This is such a unique individual. These people have when your rising sign, when your hello is in the sign of Aquarius, no matter what your sun sign is, you're going to have a big Aquarian approach. And so one of the deepest desires of Aquarius is to be individuated from group consensus. So these people don't want to be cookie cutter. They dare to be different, and they're not afraid to truly be themselves. They are exciting to be around because they have a confidence in their uniqueness. And what's fun about them is that their uniqueness gives you permission to also be unique. So it's like if in my individuated sense of self, if you will, it gives you permission to be whatever and whomever you want to be too. So it's very open-minded. They don't want to be the same as others. And they can even have a bit of a disdain conforming to society's expectations, or just being whatever you expect them to be. They're a little bit rebellious that way. They don't want to adhere to other people's expectations. They actually like to kind of go against the grain. And they know down deep inside that they were born to be different. They know that different they will be. And so it takes a while sometimes for them to accept this part of themselves. But when they step into the fully self-empowered piece of their Aquarian energy, you see that they embrace their uniqueness finally. Now, they might not have grown up that way. They might have tried to conform, but just couldn't. So this detachment from group consensus could be a creative process. It could be a madness genius process, or it could also have been an alienation process. For example, maybe I was born with a tumor on my face, and so I was forced to be different. See, so I don't know how it will come up. It can come up in thousands of different ways, but I guarantee you these people will be different, and they'll be known for being different. They will be known for their uniqueness, even if they are a Taurus or a Cancer. Or a Capricorn, something, even if they're a Capricorn, something very predictable and very routine. what they crave, if I had to say it in one little sentence, is to stamp out their uniqueness on the world. That's what they want to do. They want to, more than anything, they want to have their individual, unique influence be unlike anything or anyone else that you know. And that is the total sum of Aquarius rising. But we'll dig in deeper, okay? Because it does go deeper than that. But if you know that about them, use that. Use that in your conversation with them. Use that to seduce them. Use that to know them. Compliment them on their uniqueness. Don't try to get them to conform. Suggest your ideas as if, I know you're probably not going to want to do this, but something like that. You'll probably, what you're going to love about Aquarius risings, it's kind of early in the morning, so I need my coffee. You're going to seek these people out for their advice because they are so smart and they are so approachable and they are so non-judgmental. These people really care about the earth and they care about anything that advances the human race. They are our world's true humanitarians, and they can be really quite idealistic because they view the world and people in their individual potential, not in their limitations. Like they see sky's the limit. They see opportunity. They are visionaries. And they have an incredible gift. This might be my favorite gift that they have. It's up there. It's in the top 2 probably. But they have a gift of having a very impartial view, a very, very impartial point of view. They don't ride their agenda over you. They really don't. Super open-minded. Let's keep going. I have tons to tell you. So sit back because it's like a 20-minute video. I hope I have enough coffee in this mug. Aquariuses are so open-minded that they most likely have been exposed to lots and lots and lots of different things in life. And they are really hard to shock, close to impossible. They have seen most things. They usually have this offbeat sense of style. They're mixing and matching patterns that kind of really don't go together. They have a sense of humor that's like offbeat, off kilter, a little quirky, a little weird. And they also have a personality and a dress that screams, I'm not like you. Truthfully, they are so unafraid to be different and be themselves. And they kind of do this with pride. So it's kind of like this prideful rebel, if you will. Okay, so I'm going to tell you this little story so you can kind of get this picture. But I once invited my Aquarius rising friend to my party, and this was a really fancy party, and I rented this top suite, and my date wore a tux and I wore a beautiful gown, and it was a dress-up party, and I was treating everybody to a really cool show, a really cool dinner theater show, and it was kind of like a masquerade, right? And it was sexy and it was just beautiful and fun. And so I sent out the invitations, and my Aquarius rising friend, of course, got the invitation. And I sent, the dress, and what we were going to do, and champagne happy hour, right? So it was no casual affair. It also happened to be my birthday. And I was treating everybody just because I wanted to. I stepped into a little bit of extra cash, and I invited 25 people, and my girlfriends and their dates just showed up in all their glory, and everybody was beautiful. It was so nice. It was a night out on the town, right? And so my Aquarius rising friend comes with her date, and I swear to God, they showed up in ski sweaters, like ugly ski sweaters. I don't know if they thought they were ugly or not, but I'm not joking. And it was like, what the hell? I was just floored. And of course, it taught me a ton, right? That moment taught me so much. They didn't even care. They just rolled with it. And I was like, wow, did you guys just come from another party? No, they dressed that way for the party. They did not care. Anyways, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about expectations. I learned a lot about people. And I was really new into astrology. I was only in this was many years ago, like 22 years ago. I learned a lot about Aquarius on that evening. And of course, I learned that friendship is, of course, always more important than fashion, and that fashion doesn't even matter. So I just find it interesting that, first impressions are important and they do stick and they do matter. And I find the boldness of Aquarius rising to be utterly fascinating, and I envy it. I envy not being, I envy being that free, right? Isn't that total freedom? Free from societal expectations. That's how you'll know who an Aquarius rising is. If you're with somebody who's just really free from the societal or the community expectations or even the tribal expectations of your particular community, whether it looks like my tribe or their tribe, it doesn't matter. But if they grew up in this particular tribe and they have absolutely no desire to conform to the rules, that's probably an Aquarius rising. If they show up with just sort of a offbeat, maybe even a little bit inappropriate or rebellious outfit, they're probably Aquarius rising. Now, you can usually notice an Aquarius rising by their offbeat style, but I'll give you another hint. Aquarius risings often have two prominent features, sometimes three. So they often have these see-through blue eyes. Now, if they don't have blue eyes, they have see-through eyes. They might have contrasting eyes. I obviously don't have Aquarius rising. But if they have really translucent, transparent eyes, they're probably an Aquarius rising. And it doesn't mean they're big. It just means they're like deep. If they have brown skin and brown hair, they might have like light blue eyes that contrast, or they might have like those tiger eyes, light brown eyes or green eyes. Their eyes are a signature. I don't know why, but I've just noticed this. The other thing that they have is they always have a really straight cut jawline. Gorgeous. They have the most gorgeous jawlines you've ever seen. Really cut jawline. And they usually have a prominent cheekbone structure. But their jaw, and oftentimes they have a little cleft in their chin. Not always the cleft, but always the straight jawline. Very, very prominent jawline and gorgeous eyes. Wow. I mean, the Aquarius rising face, you can just drink it in. It is so yummy because their structure, their face is just gorgeous usually. Now, these people are not always beautiful, but their features are. And as a matter of fact, they probably don't even want to be beautiful because that would be conforming to society's beauty standards, right? So they probably are a little bit disheveled and unkempt, like the sweater at the fancy dinner party, right? So they kind of play it down. But if you look at them and you study their features, you can see their stunning, beautiful eyes and their straight jawline that really stand out. Now, the other thing about Aquarius rising, how you're going to know who these people are, is they're super likable. These people are so impossible to not like. They have this unassuming charm that makes them friendly to every single person they meet. They have like grandparents and small children falling madly in love with them. And there isn't a person out there that they wouldn't be friends with. Meaning they're like egalitarians in life, and they embrace people from all walks of life. And they have this ability to easily accept people as equals, even the homeless. These people will be friends with the homeless. These people will be friends with the wealthy. They could be friends with both Bill Gates and the guy in the sleeping bag in front of the storefront. They have this incredible little marker, okay? It's very, very subtle. So see if you can notice this. It's tiny, but it's profound because it is a signature. It is an Aquarius rising signature. So if you can notice this, they are two things. They are so kind and so caring, but in a detached way and in an objective way. So at hello, you feel incredible in their presence. You feel like right away they're saying, you're good any way you are. Come as you are. I don't judge. They're aloof to outcome, and they really don't run an agenda over you or on top of you when they speak to you. And they allow for things and people to just shake out as they are. And they're not uptight. They're not trying to control agendas or outcomes. They're not in the kitchen, like trying to really like manage. Like if you're throwing a dinner party and you've got stuff, you usually have to recruit the Aquarius rising to come in and help you because they're flowing. They're just flowing with the ease of it. Like a Virgo would be like, what can I do? Give me a job. Aquarius rising just doesn't have a need for that. Like just, yeah, if you ask them to do something, great. But they're not, they just run with no agenda. And they, for a fixed sign, they're really interesting. They are fixed. And you would think that the fixed sign would keep them tighter to an agenda, and they really do appear as if they flow, and they appear as if they're super detached and as if they kind of don't care. But that's not really true. So we're gonna go deeper. The one thing about me is I like to cut through pretenses. I like to cut through the superficial, and I like to cut through shallow. I like to give you guys a deeper perspective, all the layers deep, what it looks like, what it feels like, and then what it really is. So they are the nonconformist rebel, and they will totally go along with the flow as long as, you ready? You don't impose the rules on them. So once you start imposing your beliefs on them around what is right and wrong and good and bad and the do's and don'ts of life and your life and their life and how they should, do things, you will see that they will become ironically dogmatic and rigid. And now they're not flowing anymore. They will become so unbendable around their beliefs that you will see this fixed sign crystallize into their belief system so strongly. It's like rock candy. Do you remember rock candy when we were little and we went down and got those rock candies at Farrell's? Oh my God. That is Aquarius rising when you impose systems and structures, especially your own, rules and regulations onto them. They don't like that. It's crazy. It's like they are intolerant of being, they are intolerant of intolerance. Yeah, try that on. So they can appear, and they really are detached and aloof and flow while being kind and caring, but they are a study in contradiction. And that is one thing about these people. They are unpredictable. They are so unpredictable because Uranus and Saturn is Aquarius rising's ruler. And so you have to know what Uranus is doing in the chart and what Saturn's doing in the chart. And Saturn is very conventional in the taskmaster. And Uranus is the lightning bolt, rebellious energy. And so these people are kind of a walking contradiction. So yeah, they're going to go with the flow and even look a little like they're a little bit of a hippie agenda until you impose on them. And then they are just intolerant and dogmatic. And, an Aquarius ascendant can feel inside, they may feel like they're really special and they're different, and they are. But that's also, there's an aloneness in that too. Aquarius risings are friends with everyone, but there is a touch of loneliness. There's a touch of emotional disconnect. It's like if the heart is a sponge, sometimes Aquarius risings feel like their sponge isn't wet. Now it is, and they do love, but it is much easier for them to be friends with people and friends with their lovers than it is to be completely saturated in all the goo. They don't like that. It's sticky because I think they fear that there's going to be a lot of impositions placed upon them. If they merge and meld with somebody who's got a lot of rules, a lot of structure, a lot of good and bad, a lot of judgment, they're afraid that's going to like stick on to them and then they can't be free. So they need partners who allow them to be three things: free, free, and free. And then when you give them their freedom, they don't need it. And so they're disarmed if you allow them to have their differences and their uniqueness and their individuated sense of self. Now there's a bit of a loneliness. Now I don't think you'll see it, but I do think my Aquarius risings feel it. And it's just a touch. It's not like they walk around melancholy and alone. They're not like Scorpios. They don't have these like deep wounds that they're in touch with, but they do feel a little bit alienated. They like that though. They ask for that. They ironically create that. And then it's also the ramification of that is I'm a little bit alone. That's my coffee pot. Another pot of coffee for me. I need one. So do you get it? It's like they impose this thing on themselves because it's the only way they can have it. And then there's this little bit of loneliness that comes with it. They're willing to pay that price, though. I kind of call these people like my Call of the Wild friends. They really could live out there in the Alaskan snow in a cabin with their wolf and be A-okay without a lot of people. And if friends came by, great. And if not, it's okay too. So there's that ability to truly do being alone really well. Yeah. They feel different. They feel like they are really different. And, they have felt this way their whole life. Sometimes they feel like they're excluded from everybody else. They feel like they're on it's funny that I have this, I'm doing this in front of this window today, because they feel sometimes like they are the observer. They're on the outside of the window looking in, and they have this ability to observe and deduce what needs to be done really fast. Flashes of brilliance. These people are so smart. I mean, they are like lightning bolt smart. They have an exalted mind, I'm telling you. This is where madness and genius come together, right? That's like let me just tell you, like, we watch RuPaul's Drag Race, right? And they have to make their outfits. And some of these outfits are like just crazy, crazy ass. And they mix and match these patterns and these ideas that you would never even do. It's so Aquarius rising because when they're done with it, it's sensational. It's like the most creative, madness, brilliant, genius, awful, gorgeous, incredible thing you've ever seen outfit-wise. And you would have never thought it because you're not Aquarius rising. You don't see life through that zany, crazy, wild way like that. And so it's really cool, but it's this madness genius, and it draws people to them, but it doesn't allow for this depth of intimacy because they're so different that they secretly want, but they struggle getting, and then they kind of don't mind not getting it. And then on other days, they kind of wonder why they don't have it. So it's all really twisted. They're really good at puzzling out how things work. And this talent works with groups of people, and they're really good with groups. They're usually admired inside the group. And because they're so objective, they can easily assess the needs of others without revealing their opinion. Without revealing what's right and wrong. They oftentimes come across as, I don't know, like if you were at a dinner party, they would come across as a really smart brain surgeon at the dinner party. Somebody who's just like so into the know, like vast amounts of knowledge. And they like talking about ideas and visions and concepts and big ideas. They are not into like talking about the routine. They don't like gossiping about people. It's so boring. They like assessing situations and talking about concepts and ideas, and they accept people in a cool kind of way. So they're not warm like Sagittarius or Leo or Aries. They don't bring heat they bring cool energy. Like they're the cool cat. And they don't even know that about themselves. They're not even trying that. That's just what they are. You know, they might make you feel so comfortable. Like I said, they were like the brain surgeon at the dinner party. These are the people that would make you feel so comfortable about having a brain tumor because they probably know the 160,000 remedies on how to fix a brain tumor, or you could take this natural ingredient or do this or do that. I mean, these people are wise on a vast array of subjects, but that's how cool they are. They probably could make you feel comfortable that you have a brain tumor up in your head. I'm not kidding. Really comfortable. Like they would make you feel like A-okay with it. Like we're gonna be okay because they're detached and they're detached from outcomes. So they stay objective. So they're quite comforting that way. Okay. So to be quite honest, I'd love to tell you another Aquarius story. It's a good story, but, I want to tell you this because it gives you a little bit of insight into the Aquarius and the Aquarius rising. So, I did have to hire a surgeon to remove a little tumor in my neck. It was benign, but I didn't know that at the time. And I have a big old scar right here. And the tumor was like in my salivary gland. And the nerves were kind of close to it. And so I went to this surgeon and I just really liked him. Oh my God, I felt so comfortable with him right away. And I was really, really scared. And he started to tell me in the most compassionate of ways, but very objective, but like a cool compassion, not like it's not like he's feeling sorry for me or anything. He's like brain surgeon, but in surgeon terminology, although this wasn't in the brain, obviously. So he was oddly comforting because he was like starting to tell me every single thing that could go wrong. Half your face is going to be paralyzed. You know, you might lose your sight. Your hearing might be affected. You're going to have a scar, which I got. If we get in there, we might find out that it's not benign. And he kept going on and on and on about all the things that could go wrong. So finally, I just said to him, I said, Doctor, what's the good news? Like, what's the prayer that I should be going home saying? And he gave me that. He's like, okay, here's the prayer that you want to say to be really optimistic. But Meredith, you know what? You don't pay me to be optimistic. You hired me to be cynical. And I said, I did. And he said, absolutely. You hired me to be unemotional, intelligent, and cynical, seeing and being able to see when I'm in there every single possible scenario that could go wrong. And I was like, I like that. Wow, that's not my approach in life at all. I don't even look at things like that. But thank God he does. So I also asked him, like I always do, for his birthday. And I was like, would you mind if I had your birthday? Because I was going to go home and run his chart before I booked this surgery. And he said, well, is Abraham Lincoln's birthday good enough for you? And of course, not the year. And I was like, wow, okay, he's an Aquarian. So I went home and I ran his chart and I got his time. And he was Asian and he studied in Paris. And so I had no idea, but he had an American accent. So I had to get the place and the time, right? Because I knew the day wasn't going to cut it. And what do you know? I went home and I ran his chart. He had 5 planets in Aquarius plus Aquarius rising, and he was all first house Aquarius. And I was just like, yes, that's who you want your surgeon to be. That is who you want your surgeon to be. That's who you want your tax accountant to be too. They're usually not tax accountants, but you really benefit from a surgeon who has 5 planets in Aquarius plus Aquarius rising, because they see life as an Rubik's Cube. They see every side. And they're very sensitive, and they just don't show it. They don't reveal it. They don't want you to know it. They have a sensitivity to people, but because they're cool and detached, you don't feel it unless you really get to know them intimately, and then they'll show it. But I saw the friendship in my doctor. And when he rolled me into surgery, he held my hand. And that was a pretty big thing for Aquarius and a surgeon. And I asked him how he was doing that day, and he was like, I feel amazing, and you don't need to worry at all. I've got you. And I just felt so safe with that. And it did turn out to be fine, and it did turn out to be benign. And it turned out perfect. So that's another little Aquarius rising story. I might have another one, but you kind of are getting the gist. Aquarius risings, like I said, they are very sensitive. It's just that they don't want you to know it. They have this ache for the underdog. And the way to get them to pay attention to you is really clever, is to not want them to pay attention to you. They have so much disdain for flattery and fawning all over them. It's like they don't like syrupy compliments. They cannot stand fake flattery. They hate superficiality. I mean, they are up there with Scorpio on don't be superficial. And that's why sometimes I feel like Aquarius risings, sometimes can go a long time without even taking a shower or changing their shirt. They'll wear their clothes for 3 days. They might not shower. They don't care about social pretenses. And I'm not saying everybody's like that, but I'm just saying they don't want fake flattery. They don't want a superficial life in any way, but especially when it comes to looks. And so, here's how you can compliment an Aquarius rising. Actually tell them nicely, in the brightest and smartest of ways, how they are able to improve upon their already very solid theory and their already very solid idea, and tell them how they can actually advance it a little bit. And you will get their respect. You will command their respect. If you can see how they can increase or improve their idea, they will fall in deep respect for you. And respect is the key for Aquarius rising. You don't have to be beautiful for these people. As a matter of fact, please don't be, because they don't really trust beauty. They don't trust beauty. And they usually don't trust like arriving with 12 long stem red roses. Now, other signs do, but they don't. They don't trust flattery. So, I'm just telling you that you want to gain their respect, have them fall in respect with you. And they can only have a fulfilling love life with a person who is their friend. So friends first with these people. And it can feel really weird because there's a coolness in that. There's a little bit of a detachment in that, right? Like this friendship piece where you might be hot for them feels like, what's wrong with the situation? But for them, nothing's wrong, because that is their entire approach to life, is through friendship, building friendships. And they're the type of person who will get like a little grandmother to be their friend, a little child to be their friend. And friendship is the key to their life, and it's their key to their sexuality too. So if you're in a hurry to get them into bed, just tell them that you love the platonic vibe between the two of you. Like, I love this platonic vibe. It's so cool. I'm so glad that we're best friends. And then they'll rip your clothes off. I hope you brought your sense of humor to my video. But let's talk about their downfall, okay? Because I've talked a lot about their virtues, and they have a lot of virtues. These people are crazy smart. But their biggest flaw, probably, or downfall is that, and they're most likely unaware of this, is that they can, and this is a little bit painful, so forgive me. And they're unaware of this, so they might not know. So I might get criticisms from Aquarius rising saying, I don't do that. But ask your friends, ask the people in your life. They easily overlook the needs of the people closest to them. And at the same time, they meet the needs of acquaintances and the collective. So they are so independent in their thinking that they don't usually have their pulse on what their intimate partner needs and desires and craves and wants as much as a friend or a group of people. So they might understand what their next door neighbor is going through and wants and needs better than what you need. You know, they might not understand your feelings. I got to open the door real quick. It's getting hot. And, you know, it's like they might understand literally what the mailman needs and bend over backwards and trip over themselves trying to please the next door neighbor or the mailman or your friend. Let's just say your friend, not you, but your friend. And you're like, what's wrong with me? I mean, I'm your intimate partner. Don't you care? Not really. You're kind of on autopilot. You know why? Because they are. They're so independent that they feel like you are too, probably, because they're enmeshed with you. So they feel like they've already taken care of that. And they don't know that this is even a problem. It's like if they're up too close to the problem, or if they are the problem, their brilliant insight is not working. They can't feel the emotional disconnect that they're creating. And it's really painful to be on the other side. And I think it's because it's just too sticky. However, if you let them know and if you communicate it to them in a really objective way, not in a needy, clingy way, they hate that. Oh my God. Do not get hysterical. Do not cry. Do not bring a lot of drama to the table. But once they're aware, like, hey, you know, what about me? You paid more attention to, you know, I don't know, the grocery store clerk than me. And I was really hoping that, you know, you would throw a compliment my way. Like, where are we in this equation, right? If you were to kind of call them on it, and they kind of like shorter sentences, they don't need a lot of language. They'll fix the problem. They will, because they don't want to be that. They don't even mean to do that. They don't even know they're doing that. But they'll create a strategy to fix it if they love you, if they care about you. And it's these people are sometimes just oblivious that way. They, honest to God, swear to God, don't even know they're flirting. They're not even flirting. You just think they're flirting. So I shouldn't even say they don't even know they're flirting, because they're not. They're just being a friend. Remember the platonic vibe. So I also need to say that, you know, I'm from Seattle. A lot of you people already know that, but I'm from Seattle, Washington. And Seattle is the quintessential Aquarius town. It's a town where the very, very, very wealthy hide their status and their money. You'll see Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Howard Schultz when he's visiting here. You'll see them walking down the street in flip-flops and blue jeans. I swear to God. Aquarius Rising is very unaffected by status, wealth, and power. As a matter of fact, they don't even really need it. Bill Gates is a millionaire because of his mind, his madness genius, right? Same with Jeff Bezos. And they're not, the goal is not money usually. The goal is the idea. And how can this idea change the world? Remember the unique stamp onto the world. I want to affect humanity with a uniqueness so profound that nobody else has done this before. And we're going to look at some examples, and you'll be able to see that in these examples. But they can't stand showing off wealth. And when they take an interest in someone, this is really cool. It's for that person's own sake. It's not for an agenda or their money or what can you do for me. They're not gold diggers. This is the least gold digger sign that there is. I swear to God, unless they have a ton of Capricorn in their chart, this is the least. If you have a lot of money and you want somebody who, like, if you got divorced, they would just say, hey, no, that wasn't my money. That's your money. You know, I'm not going to take that money, and be really fair in a divorce. And you don't even need a prenuptial. Find an Aquarius or Aquarius Rising, because they just are not in it for the money. They're in it for probably the idea of you, truthfully. Maybe not even you, but the idea of you, what you guys can create in the intangible world together. So there's you, there's me, the Aquarius Rising, and I like you, but what I really like is this idea of us, this thing that we create, the alchemy, and that is intangible. That doesn't have money attached to it. So if money's in the game, if money's in the picture, that's just a byproduct. Let's see. Yeah, when they take an interest in someone, it's for their own sake, not for any outside influence. These are the people who, they could date somebody who's in prison. They could date somebody who was an addict. They could date somebody who was homeless. They could date somebody who, just had a really shitty, crappy life a misfit of any. They could date a prostitute. They could get a prostitute to fall in love with them, get them off the street, and the movie Pretty Woman, like that. They just so easily attract friends everywhere they go that they're usually kind of popular. But it's ironic again, and there is a contradiction because they also are alone on the inside and they know it. So they don't need all these friends to validate themselves. It's just people gravitate to their magnetic, unique, zany, creative, unique, bizarre madness. And I think intimacy is really hard for these people. I mean, deep, deep intimacy where like I sink into you and we become one. I don't even know if Aquarius can do that. Aquarius has really nice boundaries. Like they can do this momentarily and then come apart, momentarily and come apart. But they don't enmesh like Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. Not even like fire sign. Fire sign can mesh. And earth signs can mesh. And, the Aquarius, the Gemini, and the Libra have a harder time with that, but especially Aquarius. And so I think intimacy is hard for them because the other partner puts on a lot of rules, a lot of sticky, icky obligations and protocols and expectations and agendas, and all of that stifles true love, which is actually true friendship. They're looking for a best friend. So they're the least likely of the entire zodiac to care about what you think of them. And honestly, they could give two shits about what you think of them. They don't care. They actually, for real, don't care. They don't care what you think. And that is what is so sexy and magnetic about them, because there's a confidence in that, right? There's just so much yummy, sexy confidence in not caring what you think, right? And they do it in a cool way. They don't do it in an Aries way. They don't do it in a hot-headed way. Aries is hot. Aquarius is cool. They need a level of, if you want to seduce them, give them more personal freedom than even what they want, which is a ton. So it's going to be hard for you. It's going to be kind of painful for you, especially if you're a water sign. It's like, gosh, he needed 10 days of time out, and I want to turn him on, so I'll give him 14 days. Ugh, but it kills me, right? So they need a giant amount of personal freedom. The best way to handle that is go get a life. Other than them, go get a life other than them. And then it makes it a whole lot easier. They're restless and they're curious. And that can always push them to seek more stimulating environments and people. Oh, I'm sorry about that. That's a notification. So, they want to, how do I say this? They want to, one way to really like massively turn them off is to not be stimulating and to be really boring. They need so much mental stimulation that you're going to seduce these people mentally, not physically. I'm just going to tell you. And I'm not saying they won't go there physically, but they're going to bring a mental game to the physical world. And so think about that. You're going to have to bridge the mind and the body when you're with them intimately. And if you're boring, they're out of there. So if you got dumped by an Aquarius rising, really take a look at your life. Are you dialed in? Are you tapped into their level of personal freedom? Do you have a life? Are you fascinating? They really need a fascinating friend as a lover. And they want fascinating ideas. And so don't be a bore. Don't be boring. Do not be boring. They are electric. And sometimes they are really actually more interested in your ideas rather than you. Also they have a relationship with tomorrow. They love future tripping. So Cancer risings love to talk about their past and their past memories and their history. And Aquarius risings love to talk about future and what we're doing tomorrow. And, about our first trip to Mars. And, are you going to be getting yourself a self-driving car? And are drones flying over our house and monitoring us? And, I just bought a ticket to Mars. I'm gonna fly to Mars. Are you gonna fly to Mars? But it's like, these are the people that want to find the first cure for cancer, or at least study about it. These people are they haven't they kind of they're future trippers. So they're not that interested in the past. They don't really sit around and talk about how great their parents were and their childhood was. It's not that interesting. That's been there, done that. They want to know about tomorrow. What are we doing tomorrow? What are we creating? Who's going to be the first female president? Who's going to be the first, lesbian president? They're so open-minded. They really embrace all genders, all races, all types. The LGBTQ community, they would embrace. They could be a straight macho male and have like gay friends, and no big deal. This could be somebody who like doesn't even do a man hug, does like a real hug with another man, and they don't care. They don't care what you think. So Aquarius ascendants will always be one thing: unpredictable. Aquarius ascendants are going to be unpredictable. So the thing about Aquarius risings is, in love, sex, and dating, no other sign can be as unpredictable as an Aquarius rising. One minute they love you, the next minute they're gone and they lost your number, because they have detachment syndrome, meaning they find it a little bit more comfortable to be detached than attached. Because they're afraid you're going to impose their rules. So you really need to teach them and show them immediately that you're not like that. And if you crave a relationship and the structure that it could bring to you, and you're with an Aquarius rising, just know that you're not going to get a predictable routine. But it doesn't mean they don't love you. And it's not even a statement about you. It's who they are. It's their DNA. It's literally how they're wired. They're wired to change things up and have no 2 days the same. They want to explore every single day as if it's a new day. And they're really good at that. And I think it would help us to emulate that a little bit. Take that from them. Their partners need to also be really sexually progressive, and their partners need to understand that they might have sort of progressive viewpoints on sex, and they might not be really old-fashioned or traditional around sex, and that could be intimidating for some people. They really might be curious and want to experiment. They need somebody who's not threatened or jealous with their ability to make friends with strangers and everywhere they go. And they need someone, now they don't always hold on to those friendships because they're moving through life. And tomorrow may bring a new friend. So they need someone supportive of that level of freedom. And once they get a whiff that you're not okay with that freedom, and you're really having a problem with it, they slowly go cold. They literally go ice cold. And their coping mechanism for dealing with difficult partners and challenges is to go slowly cold on you and to cut you out, cut you off, just be gone. They can just amputate faster than any other sign, even faster than Gemini and faster than Libra, far faster than Libra, because they're fixed. So when they cut things off, they cut things off. So they don't usually come back either because they're fixed and they're future tripping. So they're looking for the next thing, and they're not in the sticky emotions. So they're not walking around devastated. And this is painful. This is painful if you're on the receiving end of that. It hurts really, really bad. I actually think the coldness that comes from the Aquarius rising amputating you is far more painful than the scorpionic stinger. And that's saying something. Painful. So they might not even tell you that they're finding their bliss elsewhere. And they may not even contact you. And, you know, it cuts. It cuts. So let's look at some Aquarius risings. Now, these people are not Aquarians. They are Aquarius rising. So this is their approach in life, okay? This is how they say hello, or this is how they want you to perceive them. But you have to mix it with their sun signs. And I don't even know these people's sun signs, but we can just look at their rising sign. We can just see the Aquarius rising in them. Hold on. So Barack Obama. Now, don't write political comments on my page, please, because I like talking about politicians because we know them collectively. We know them from around the world. We know them iconically. And Barack Obama, the first African-American United States president, Aquarius rising. And I think he did a lot of firsts. But wow, isn't he cool? Like he's got a cool swag to him. He is a Leo, though. So that is opposite. But that Aquarius rising, you can see David Bowie, right? Madness genius. Jim Morrison, very interesting. Nicki Minaj, you know, the pink hair, totally, like she could give two fucks what you think about her. Did I say that? Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm in my Aquarius rising. I know my Aquarius risings won't judge me, right? I actually said that really bad word. I didn't mean to say that. Oh my gosh, time out. I'm blushing. Hold on. I really embarrassed myself. Okay, keep going, rolling through. Aquarius risings, leave me feedback. Give me a comment. Tell me it's okay. I know you don't judge me. Billie Holiday is Aquarius rising. Now, you know, in my Cancer video, I think I named off a lot of murderers, mass murders, only because when I was a beginning astrologer, I didn't think Cancers were capable of committing crimes. Yeah, right. Only to find out that the worst criminals, O.J. Simpson and Jeffrey Dahmer, and it went on and on, are Cancers. So I have to put in, you know, I have to put in a bad guy too. But and you'll see this kind of criminal with this Aquarius rising. Oscar Pistorius. Was that not so Aquarius rising, like the madness genius? And like he honestly did not care. He did not care that he killed his gorgeous, beautiful, loving girlfriend. Just shot her while she was going to the bathroom. Just a sicko, sick sicko, Aquarius rising. And I could go on and on about that. I won't. Karl Marx, interesting, right? Leaving his unique stamp on the world for sure. Whoopi Goldberg, so unafraid to be herself, calls it like it is. I don't really watch The View, but when I do see it on my Twitter feed or whatever, you know, she's always the one saying the thing everybody wants to say but doesn't. That's also a trademark of Aquarius rising, like, because they don't care what the judgment is, so they're unafraid to make the statement where everybody else is like, whoa, you know. Russell Crowe, and I feel like he's an Aries, but I feel like his characters always have that cool swag. You know, they have the heat of the Aries warrior, and then they also have the Aquarius coolness. And look at his eyes, those see-through eyes. Audrey Hepburn is an Aquarius rising. She became a true humanitarian, like moved to Africa and saved all the children in Africa after she was such a beautiful film star. And Carl Jung, you know, the founding father of archetypes, psychological archetypes, and Freud's counterpart. I almost said friend, but I think enemy. J.K. Rowling. Oh my God, is there a more unique mind, massively creative, brilliant mind on the planet? I mean, Harry Potter, I don't know. Think about when it came out. I don't know if there was ever a more creative series of stories that was just endless. It just went on to infinity. And it was so future tripping, wasn't it? So cool. And like my surgeon, Abraham Lincoln. So those are my examples, and I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions down below. And I know this video was kind of long. It took a whole hour. I'm so sorry. Maybe we didn't even get through it, but this is a complicated, complex sign because it's filled with contradiction. And if you are so lucky to have an Aquarius rising in your life, I hope so much this teaches you a little bit about their DNA, their wiring, their programming. And I hope that this helps you not get your feelings hurt by who they're being or not being to you, because they just might not be able to provide you with the level of intimacy and saturated love and icky, sticky, gooey, yummy love and the expression of it that your soul craves. But it's not you, it's them. So I hope you enjoyed this really long Aquarius rising video. I promise the next one won't be this long, but Pisces is on deck, so look for that. And yeah, please subscribe to my channel and ring the little bell so you can get the notifications. And I have a really packed schedule. I actually have 8,000 clients in 17 countries, and I'm booked about 6 weeks in advance. But if you do want a reading, I would absolutely welcome it. And get on my calendar at soulnavigation.com. It's SOUL navigation.com. Take care and have a wonderful day.